Hey guys, sorry that I have not been at school that much this week, but I'm sick and the doctor said that I cannot return to my lovely babies until Monday. And I know you all just miss me so much, so I decided to do a video and try to go over some things and go through the things that we need to go through together through a video, just so you can hear my lovely voice and you can see my beautiful face. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see yours until next week. So what I want you to do is, excuse me, make sure you grab highlighters, glue sticks, scissors, everything that you need before you start, so that as you all are going through this, you don't have to constantly stop and get up. Okay? Yeah. So here we go. All right. So this is a KWL chart on page 38. Don't say what page. Page 38. In your notebook, I need you to create this chart. Now you can do it the long ways, or if you want to turn your notebook and do it that way, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's the only thing going on there. So the K is for know, want to know, and learn. And we're doing this on Franklin D. Roosevelt. And you'll figure out why in a second. No, we all know he's a what? A president. Great. I'm so glad you all knew that. If you didn't, I'm glad I wasn't here to hear the silence. All right, he's the president. But what you may not know is when he was president. So you may want to know, when was he president? Some other things you may want to know about him could possibly be, what did he do as president? What was he most known for? Or any other question that you have when it comes to Franklin D. Roosevelt. And some of you may know a lot more about him than your other classmates. And that's fine. You all can talk about it as a class if you want to. Don't worry about the learn section. We'll actually come back to that later. But just make sure you have at least 3 things in the want to know, and as much as you possibly can for know. All right? All right, so go ahead and make sure you grab yourself a highlighter. You may want a marker. You may want something so that you can annotate in different colors. With annotation, all you are doing is breaking apart a piece of text, making little side notes, making comments. You are going to need your vocabulary words for this. Ethos, pathos, logos, antithesis, parallel, structure, all of those vocabulary words you will need for this assignment. So the same words you used yesterday, you're going to be focused on them again today. All right? So let me figure out how to work this. I don't know how to work this, so let me cut this and go to another video.
Alright guys, make sure you take your scissors and glue stick. You're going to actually take the speech and you're going to cut the extra white off from around it, because you're actually going to put this on page 39, excuse me. Where's my pencil? Look for the pencil, because you all going to say, what page? And then, you're going to realize, oh, let me just rewind it. So let me write it here. 39.
Okay? All right, once you are done with this on 39, then you can move on to the next thing. All right, here we go. So each of you should have your own copy of the 4 Freedom speech. All right, the 4 Freedom speech was given by who? Look closely. Look. Oh, look. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the same person that you just did your KWL chart on. Great. All right, if you look at the very top, it says, on January 6, 1941, as part of the annual message to the Congress. Now, what is it called when the president stands up in front of the entire country and gives a speech at the beginning of each year? All right, make sure you look that up if you don't know, because that is the only way you're going to really understand this speech. So figure out what an annual message to Congress is called. All right, so the first thing we're going to do with this speech, we're going to take a look at the very beginning. It says, in future days, which we seek to make secure, we look forward to a world founded upon 4 essential human freedoms. In this very first sentence, what is he talking about? What is he looking for? What is he saying? What does essential mean? And as you can see, I kind of have it written here. So make sure you write down what essential means. Human freedoms. What are considered human freedoms? So in this first sentence, we already know that he's about to start talking about these necessary human freedoms. Okay, and how many of them are there? Right here. 4. All right, the first freedom is the freedom of speech everywhere in the world. Okay, so he is saying that we should all have the freedom of speech everywhere in the world. So make sure you point out that he's saying everywhere in the world, not just the U.S., but everywhere. And make sure you understand what the whole concept of freedom of speech and expression is. Because a lot of times other countries don't have it. You know, we can go to social media and we can say what we want, like boo Trump, or we don't want Hillary, or bump Afghanistanians, or whatever. We can say whatever we want, but in other countries, they can't. Like places like China, they go ahead and they block certain networks, they block people, they arrest people who feel like they want to say something against what they believe in. Luckily, we don't live in that type of country. Sorry, I got the juice right now. All right, so keep that in mind as we continue reading. All right, so the next part says, the second is freedom of every person to worship God in his own way, everywhere in the world. Okay. Freedom of every person to worship God in his own way. So what is he saying? What is he saying about religion? What is he saying about people who believe in different things, people who have different versions and ideas of God? What is he saying here? Now's the time to make some notes and write off to the side somewhere. Excuse my nail polish. Gotta get them done. Write off somewhere. What is he talking about? What is he talking about as far as religion? And again, we see he says everywhere in the world. So why does he keep saying that? Why did he find it necessary to repeat that again? Okay, you can make a little note off to the side for that as well. The third paragraph, it says, the third is freedom from want, which translated into world terms means economic, understandings, which will secure to every nation a healthy peacetime life for its inhabitants everywhere in the world. So he says a lot here. One, he says the third is a freedom for want, and then he said translated into world terms. Why would he say translated into world terms? Think about his audience. Think about, politicians and presidents where they have to stand in front of people and they have to convey a certain message. Why would they change their words? Why would he say in world terms as opposed to in nation terms or in American terms? Why does he say in world terms? And then it says means economic understandings, which will secure to every nation a healthy peacetime life for its inhabitants. So if you see any words there that you don't know, that is your time to make some notes. Go get that dictionary. You have the computer, Google. Make sure you highlight or write off to the side the definition of any words you don't know. And again, look, everywhere in the world. Okay, that's 3 times already. So that is an example of what vocabulary word. It's actually an example, of multiple vocabulary words. So make sure you identify those vocabulary words off to the side. All right? Okay, so y'all already knew we were not about to go through this whole thing together. I wasn't. We did the first couple of paragraphs together. You need to ask yourself those questions as you go through them. Like, what does he mean when he says this? Or why is he constantly repeating this word or this phrase? Continue to ask yourself that as you go through the rest of them. You need to identify those vocabulary words in this speech. There are plenty of examples of allusions and euphemisms and antithesis, and you have ethos, pathos, logos in there. So by the time you're done with the speech, you should have it all marked up with a bunch of different notes. So remember what ethos means, pathos means, logos. Why should we trust anything that he's saying? Okay, that's that ethos, his credibility. Why is he credible? Why is he reliable? Pathos, what are some words that he uses in order to connect with the people he's speaking to? And then just in general, think about who is he addressing? Who's the audience? Who is he addressing? Because normally when a president stands in front of his country to speak, he's speaking to his country. But is he speaking to just his country in this speech? So figure that out. And once you figure that out, you should be able to complete the rest of the speech with no problem using using your vocabulary words. All right, when you're done with the speech, you should have your rhetorical appeals analysis chart. All right, so thesis, main focus, what appears to be the speaker's purpose in the speech. What was his purpose in writing this? Remember, I told you all to figure out what an annual speech to Congress is. That's what you need to figure out. What is the purpose of this? What is he trying to get across to his audience? Remember, we have to figure out who the audience is in general. Logos, we already know what logos is. You all need to tell me what the logos is and then provide support. So don't just say, oh, it's a fact that he said we need freedom of speech. That's not even an example of logos. So find a real example of logos and then tell me how you, I can't even see because this thing is so far up. Tell me how you came up with that example. Ethos, tell me how does he establish his credibility. All right, that should be very simple actually. Then pathos, you already know what does the author use or do to appeal to the audience's beliefs and values. Beliefs, values. He uses some words that really touch beliefs and values, so go back to that. Also connects the author to the audience. Reflection. Do you find it clear? A lot of times we can listen to a whole bunch of different people speak and they can use these different rhetorical analysis and rhetorical appeals, and we don't understand anything they're saying. So, was this clear? Do you understand his motivation? Do you understand what he was trying to get across, his argument? Any areas, ethos, pathos, logos that was neglected that you feel like, oh, probably if he added more pathos or probably if he gave us a little bit more facts or something like that, I would have been able to understand it. So you're reflecting on the piece or the speech, that you just read. All right, so it's real simple. All right, guys, so I wanted to do a video to kind of help explain some of the things because I feel really bad, like I said, because I haven't been there that much this week, but that's not an excuse because you have your vocabulary words, you know what they mean, you have examples for the vocabulary words, so now you need to take your examples and the definitions and apply them. I kind of briefly went through them. If I went too fast, this is a recording, so you can always hit rewind and replay anything you want to replay. Great. Outside of that, make sure, like I said before, your project is done for Monday so we can get this Shark Tank show going. Make sure that, make sure that you completed your assignment from yesterday about Queen Elizabeth because that's going in as a grade as well. And I'm sorry I haven't put in your midterm grades, but I've been sick. So I will make sure I get those in as soon as possible so you can have an accurate update on your grades. Make sure you have all of your work done, okay? Even if you don't finish, luckily it's Friday, so you can finish it over the weekend and I would have never known. But make sure you do what you're supposed to do and get everything done. See you Monday.